7 years after he left to study abroad, the boy I'd loved my whole life finally came home to introduce his new girlfriend to his parents. That same week, my doctors finally announced that my 7-year battle with cancer had failed. I could go home to die. Sherman looked at me in my wheelchair, a cruel smile playing on his lips. Oh, 7 years have passed, and you've become like this, unable to even walk? Sensing the contempt in his tone, I silently pulled down my sleeve to cover the numerous needle marks on the back of my hand. It's nothing serious, just a broken leg. He let out a harsh laugh. Is that so? In that case, since I'm getting married soon anyway, why don't you be my fiancé's bridesmaid? I forced a calm, bitter smile. I'm afraid not. I'll be going to a very far place soon. I patted my mother's hand, signaling her to push me away. I had barely lain down at home when Sherman's mother rushed in. She entered the room, her eyes darting around, avoiding my gaze. Nina, Auntie has a very important request to ask you. Seeing her flushed face, I knew what was going to happen without her saying a word. The scene was exactly the same as 7 years ago. Memories flooded back. The day of my diagnosis, she rushed into the ward, her face filled with anxiety and guilt. I hadn't even recovered from the devastating news of cancer and was crying my heart out when she suddenly knelt before me. Aunt Nina, please, she pleaded in a low voice, please don't be a burden to Sherman. He just got his acceptance letter. If he knew you were sick, he would never have left. You two grew up together, you have a deep bond. Please, for my sake, don't ruin his future. I'm begging you, break up with him. I've arranged everything for you. I've found a boy to help you. All you have to do is pretend to be intimate downstairs so Sherman sees you and makes him give up on you completely. Because of these words, the first thing I did after my diagnosis wasn't to schedule treatment, but to orchestrate a clumsy betrayal, deeply hurting Sherman and forcing him to leave. As expected, she lowered her voice again, filled with guilt. Nina, don't blame me. I had no choice. That girl is his classmate from his master's program, a perfect match. I can't just watch this perfect marriage fall apart. You know Sherman has always had feelings for you. If he finds out the truth about what happened back then, I'm afraid he'll. So could you please avoid him? You're going to die soon anyway, you shouldn't be going out anymore. The word death struck like a hammer blow. My mother beside me trembled with anger, tears instantly welling up in her eyes. My mother, who had been quietly tidying up medicines, suddenly grabbed a pack of adult diapers and slammed it onto the bed. Seeing the rage in her eyes, I quickly reached out and weakly tried to calm her down before turning to Sherman's mother, my tone calm. I can promise you I'll never tell Sherman the truth about what happened back then, but I absolutely cannot promise never to see him again. I couldn't do it. For those 7 years of hell, I thought of him constantly. Whenever the chemotherapy was excruciating, I clutched that photo of him embracing me, gritting my teeth and enduring it all. I endured dozens of surgeries, and several times I was rushed to the ICU, nearly dying. It was my mother who stayed by my bedside, crying until her voice was hoarse, pulling me back from the brink of death. Nina, have you forgotten? You swore to live. You said you'd find him yourself and clear up the misunderstanding. You said you'd let me take you to see him once you recovered. If you died, you'd never see Sherman again. Her desperate cries were always interspersed with his name, pulling me back from the brink of death time and time again. But in the end, I lost. And Sherman, he has a new life, a new girlfriend, a new future. Still, in the little time I had left, couldn't I just be near him for a while? That's why, when the doctor told me leaving the hospital was a death sentence, I pushed myself out of bed anyway. I had to. I knew he was home.